that stuff. Don't use this. You really pretty much should never ever need to do this. So if you look in the lib folder here for variant autoload, so lib variant autoload, that's this file here. Let's make this bigger. And this is where your class names are converted to file paths. So the underscores are, let's see, the underscores are first replaced with spaces. So this class name, Mage Catalog Block Product View, is passed into string replace. Replace the underscores with spaces. Run UC words. So that's going to uppercase each word, and then use the directory separator, which we have defined previously, and replace the spaces with the directory separator. So that's the process. Basically, any underscore here is effectively going to be translated into a slash, and then we're going to include that file right here. And then, of course, the very last part of the class name, in this case view, we'll just append .php to it. That's how that works. That's autoloading in Magento. That's probably caused, thousands and thousands of developers, thousands and thousands of hours just by not understanding it. So just remember, you can check the functionality out there, but the things to remember: catalog block product view. In this case, Mage catalog block product view. This is the class name that's built by the factory method, and then basically, it's between PHP and the autoloader to figure out where it's found. That's it. It's that simple. It takes a little while to understand, but it's that simple, I promise. Any questions? Okay, good. All right. So, code pools. Code pool is a unique directory that consists of grouped code. Yeah, code pools. The important thing in Magento, those code pools: core, community, local. Now, again, the important thing as far as Magento finding your module's configuration, Magento will look under wherever you set your code pool in your module declaration. Now, and more on that later, but really, for right now, just remember that code pools are under app code, and you have core, community, and local. And generally, community are for released extensions, release modules that are out there for more than one person. Local will be where you'll be doing a lot of your own work. Effectively, they're all just places in the file system. Just so happens that the system looks in local first, then we'll look in community, and then we'll look in core as far as finding files goes. So, app code core, you will never do anything in here, except in a couple of the examples that I have. The only time you're ever allowed to edit this code is when you're being taught Magento. So this is for the core team only, i.e. Magento employees. And you may find yourself going in there to, you'll drop in a little die or a logging function or something, and that's okay. But you need to make sure it's reverted, and then certainly before you commit any code, hopefully you're seeing some sort of changes when you go to commit your code, or certainly when you go to deploy code, you really need to make sure that this is absolutely clean. It can be, I think, a little embarrassing to have white space differences or even just some debugging code present in something that you're releasing and that someone else is going to see. I'm sure I've been guilty of it myself. But yeah, for the cardinal rule is don't change anything in here despite whatever any tutorial might have told you. So app code community, again, this is where extension developers will go and put some code. This is a place for them to put their modules. You could put your modules here as well. But in general, any custom stuff, especially if you are customizing something for a particular client, or for your business, if you're here from a company that uses Magento, will be in app code local. Now, you remember this. This is from appmage.php. This was the part at the top. So this include path order, the order of precedence, local, community, core. Again, that's where this comes from. It's just simply the order in which we build out this array, and then the string. Yeah, it's that easy. Any questions? Okay, you guys are doing well. One note, fresh from the Magento development team, you can add your own code pool. For example, app code debug. You could just simply put it, if you want to put it, add it to this array. Or you can, if you want, add it in this way and just sort of prepend your path ahead of all the other paths. And that way you could include your own custom implementation of this, the product view block for debugging purposes, based on your IP address. Yeah. Just a hint, you can use it. It's very cool. Namespaces. So, what is a namespace? It's just a folder. We have to do this for the time being in PHP. This will keep us from having any kind of collisions. So for Magento, the namespace is Mage. So basically, the namespace is going to be the first folder underneath a code pool. E.g., app code core Mage, or app code core enterprise. Mage is a namespace. Enterprise is a namespace. And what that does is it keeps us from installing a module. It should keep us from installing a module and overwriting anything. Yeah, pretty simple concept. So here, the namespace would be training, and the module would be foo. It's a very important module. It's foo. So you could also, and this actually demonstrates exactly why it's needed. It's a convention among many developers, myself included. If you're going to override, if you're going to basically rewrite a class either to change some functionality or add functionality, which you can do via configuration, and we'll be doing this shortly. I like to, if I'm looking at a module, because we deal with lots of different clients, so I may not remember 8 months from now what's been sort of customized for a given site. I know I can look under app code local in my company's namespace, and if I see something, a module name that is identical to a core module name, I'll know that I'm probably rewriting something. So if we were to use the Mage namespace, Mage catalog, and specify app code local, Mage catalog, block product view, well then the Magento core file wouldn't actually ever be evaluated, because the definition would be found through the autoloader in our namespace first, or in the local code pool first. Sorry, not our namespace, if I have Mage here. And that is not good. And you have to have a really, really good reason to do that. And the only time I ever see it used in any kind of justifiable way would be to override abstract classes, or some base classes that lots of other classes extend from. And that almost always, more often than not, is an indication of a bad implementation. That's not universal or unilateral, but you really, if your solution to a problem is to override an entire core file, you're probably doing something wrong. Call me first. All right, so locating templates. So we're good. So now we've covered basically the app code space and the autoloader, and no one has gotten up and left the class yet. That's really good. I'm very pleased with all of you. So on to templates. So this is one thing, and it also is my understanding that in Magento 2 this is going to change. Again, I'm only talking about things that I've heard other people talk about that got to go to Ibiza for the conference while I was here teaching Magento, which was way more fun than Ibiza, I promise. So it's my understanding that templates will be part of your module, your modules directory. That's what I hear. No guarantees yet, but for right now, to find templates in Magento, you would look under App Design, and then an area name, package name, theme name, template folder. So I know this is kind of a frustrating hierarchy to remember, but generally if it's a front-end template, so customer-facing, it'll be App Design Front-End, and if it's an admin template, it'll be App Design Admin HTML. Okay? Those are area names, simply. Package names, these are all just folders, ultimately, but package name in Magento is really just a folder specified in the admin, as well as theme. There's a whole other system, though, the design fallback that operates. So these can be kind of variable, these two, depending on whether Magento finds a file in a certain place. And, of course, we have a whole lesson devoted to that. So you'll understand that in a bit. But an important thing to remember is when you are specifying a template file, in the case of a block, you would call set template, and then you just simply pass in a file path. So you only specify the file path relative to the template folder. So under here, you might have catalog product view.phtml, and coincidentally, that would be the product view template. So you would call set template catalog/product/view.phtml. And you notice how you don't have template, you don't have theme, package, or area name in there. That's just simply how that system works. So that's where you find templates. So feel free to take a look there. Your default templates may be found in App Design Front-End, well, for the front-end, App Design Front-End, Base, Default, Template. And that's sort of the ultimate fallback. That's the ultimate fail-safe. So, yeah. More on that later. And similarly, with layout XML files, which can be declared by your module, you'll have again app design and then front-end package name, front-end package name or admin HTML package name, theme name, and then a layout folder. And in your module configuration, you only declare things relative to the folder that contains them, the layout folder. So by convention now, Magento didn't really do this at the beginning, but it's now sort of the convention to do this, and that is to have a folder under layout, like with your namespace, and I like to use namespace _ module name, and then your actual layout file. And of course, we'll be doing this as well, so you'll get to actually see this in action. Now, skins. So skins are also specified in configuration, or you fall back to front end, for example, front end base default. But yeah, it's a similar convention. Instead of app design or skin design, you just have app design front end or skin front end, and then your package name, your theme name. Specify this information, and then you can use your namespace. I'll let you look through that and decide what structure works for you. We'll talk about some of the implications about how you do this a little bit later on. But yeah, this is where skins are found, and the skin assets are found. So the other thing is JavaScript, and JavaScript, as I mentioned at the beginning of this lesson, is found right under right under the directory root. And generally, you'll have some sort of namespace. For example, you might have JS Enterprise, and then some sort of the module name. It's really up to you. You always declare these sort of system-wide JavaScript files. You reference them relative to the JS folder. So the call would be for the head block, add JS, and then you specify a path. And then I think this is the last directory. Again, transient data. The goal here, of course, is just you would always want a namespace. Protect your module information somehow, so you could have namespace module name. You don't have to do this. It's just recommended. But obviously, anything under var is considered okay for deletion at any given time. Okay, so now we're going to just, I'll lead you through as we go and find these different files that I was just talking about in the file system. Okay, so our first task is to find page XML, page.xml layout file. So it's obviously not a configuration file, so this is going to be a layout file. You'll see this, unless you see something like config or system.xml, you're going to need to look in the design folder, basically. So the location of this file, let's see. So if you're using a community edition, you would only a fresh community edition, you would only need to look under app design front end, base, default, layout, and page XML. So this is a layout file. We'll be dealing with this in depth. If you've never used layout XML before, it's very cool. I'm glad you're taking this class because it'll really help make a difference in your understanding of layout XML. As I know, a lot of people they hate this with Magento because they don't. It's a little hard to understand. It's quite a unique implementation for MVC, but I promise you that we'll help this make a lot of sense. Yeah, we'll help this make a lot of sense for you, and yeah, more on that later. So the basic structure, of course, is a layout node that contains layout update instructions. This is included based on a module configuration. So in the config XML of Mage page module, there's just the appropriate XML and value for the system to go and find this file. Now, those of you, though, with Enterprise, so just a brief note on the fallback, Enterprise default layout also has a page XML. And based on your theme settings, if Magento finds this page XML first, that's the one it will use. Won't ever look in base default. So that's how the fallback works. More on that later. So that's page XML. And now the product model. Well, some of you will know immediately where to find it. Others of you will need to look around. I'll tell you that it's in the catalog module. The catalog contains products and categories, and you can find that under app code core Mage catalog. And we're looking for the product model, so I guess it stands to reason that we would find it under catalog model, and here we have product. And so I'll take a second to point out again, Mage catalog model product. You see the class name there, and then if you're paying attention, you are paying attention, right? You'll see that this is exactly, well, this kind of mirrors the path that we took to find this file. So again, in the config XML here, under Etsy, config, if I search for models, so global models catalog. Incidentally, this node is what we pass to the factory method. So for models, it's just simply Mage get model is one opportunity, and that string catalog gets mapped, or basically is where Magento, the configuration object, Mage core model config, looks to find the class prefix. So based on saying get model catalog / product, that's how we would get this to this product model class. The catalog is taken, matched here, and we use this as a class prefix. So this class here, even though it says class, I really wish it said class prefix because this is not an actual class. It's just simply the first part of the class name. And then whatever was after the slash, so we have catalog / product, gets appended here with an underscore, and we get this Mage catalog model product. The system we'll call new on it. So new Mage catalog model product. The definition isn't present, so the autoloader kicks in, and then we go on this file path. Let's see. Mage, catalog, model, and product.php. That works all the time. So again, just continue to think about it. I'm going to say this a dozen more times at least in the course of this class because it's very important to understand. And it sounds very simple, but it just takes a while to get into your brain. Incidentally, the fact that it extends Mage catalog model abstract, this wouldn't go through the factory method. This just gets called directly, and so the autoloader will also have to find this. And it does the same thing, Mage catalog model abstract, Mage catalog model abstract.php. Very good. All right, so that's 2. Now let's go into the third one. Order collection. Orders are entities that exist under the sales module. So we have Mage and sales. Now, their collections are models. They are also stored in basically according to configuration. But what we have here, let's see. Their collections are a special kind of model. We'll be talking about the different types of models. And they are found along a different configured path in the module structure. So in this case, it's sales model MySQL 4 order collection. And this particular one will make a lot more sense to you once you've seen resource models configuration. But again, up to a certain point, we have a configuration, and that's actually Mage sales model MySQL 4. And then after that, it's a similar factory method call. It's just, you could call get resource collection. I'm sorry, get resource model sales / order underscore collection. And through a similar process as we saw with the product model, the configuration would get you up to Mage sales model MySQL 4. And then the order underscore collection would get us to here. All right. Good. Hope some of you are starting to get this. All right. Now, just a couple more that are fairly interesting to me as well. The checkout JavaScript. The first time I went looking for this, I was pleasantly surprised. The first time I went looking for this, I was pleasantly surprised. And by pleasantly, I mean not totally pleasantly surprised. You might expect it to be found under JS. That's a reasonable place to look. So under JS, well, there's Varian, there's Mage, some translate. Varian, we have accordion, configure. Nothing here. And interestingly enough, it's actually under the skin folder. And the reason for this, of course, is that the checkout.js, this is tied to the theme. So basically, if you're customizing steps, if you have differently named identified blocks, the system has to have a way to find them, and that's in opcheckout.js. So here you see we're actually looking for some hard-coded IDs from the template. And if you don't have these, or if you change them, or whatever, well, you would need to change this. So this JS file is located in the theme because it's dependent on the theme itself. So that's the difference there. Now, variant data collection DB. By now, if you remember, we were looking for the autoloader under lib variant. So we have lib, variant, but the exact same thing holds true. Variant underscore data underscore collection underscore DB. Just simply replace those. Just simply replace those for variant data collection DB. Just simply replace the underscores with slashes in your mind and add a .php to the end. That's all you have to do. And you know that based on the autoloader, we're going to look in AppCode core, AppCode local, AppCode community, AppCode core, and then lib. So under lib, we have variant data collection DB. Very good. Any questions? Okay, cool. All right. So let's close this up and get ready for the next lesson.